Hi everyone. So today I'm going to introduce the production of donut, but before I introduce the production, I will explain some of the background history or the material that is needed. So first, the donut is a fried ring or globule of sweet dough that is yeast leavened, and the dough is mixed, shaped, and dropped it into hot oil and fried and glassed. There are different flavors such as chocolate, strawberry, fresh fruit, and some blueberries, orange, or nuts will be put on the donuts. So the yeast raised donuts, which is leavened by the certain of carbon dioxide resulting from fermentation of yeast, they really need several hours to produce because the process is really complicated and really waste time. And this all the process I will explain later. So here are some picture of donuts: chocolate donuts, strawberry donuts, glass donut, or some of the people like blueberry donut, or this really fresh fruit strawberry donut, but not just the glass. And here's some apple. And this one, um, maybe some people know, but maybe some people don't really know what is this. It is also a kind of donut which is called globule. Maybe you go to Tim Hortons, you will see something like that, and it looks like a small bowl, and it's also a kind of donut. And then I will talk about the history of donuts. So in the 18th century, donuts appeared and was called Ollikoeks, which mean Oleo cakes. In the 19th century, Elizabeth Gregory fried flazer dough with walnuts for her son, Hanson, and they hence the name donut. So by the late 19th century, the donut had a hole. Donuts are full of calories so that they can provide lots of energy for the workers, especially for the logging jobs. And that's why donuts become famous at lumbering camps of the Midwest and Northwest. And the army of World War One, which is called the Doughboys, 8,000 of donuts served by the Salvation Army on the French front. And the soldiers think donut was far more than a hot snack. And the donuts represent all men were fighting for the safety and comfort of the mother, hers, and home. So donut is something like really special for them. And there's even a day called National Donut Day, and they're celebrated in United States and also in some other countries too. It is on the first Friday of June of each year, succeeding the donut event created by the Salvation Army in Chicago in 1938 to honor those of their members who served donuts to soldiers during World War One. And then I will introduce the material that are needed to make donuts. So here are a chart of bill of material. And for making donut, you need about 9 items: flours, yeast, eggs, butter, sugar, milk, water, salt, and shorten. And here I show the quantity and the unit. So for example, the flours need 400 grams, the yeast need 15 grams, you need 2 eggs, butter, you need 40 grams, you need 50 grams of sugar, 140 ml for milk, 100 ml for water, and a pinch, just a little of salt. And you need a bag of fried shorten. And then it's the manufacturing process, which is one of the main point of this presentation. So this step-by-step process explains the manufacture of donuts, which is the yeast raised donuts. So first, obviously, is the acquiring the ingredients. No matter it's homemade or it's the bakery or it's the factory, you all need to like prepare for the ingredients. But you have to remember to put the large quantities of fresh ingredients such as eggs, milk, and butter into the refresh. And the second one is measuring the ingredients. You have to measure it really carefully because some people will just put flour or yeast into the container and like they forgot to reset the weighing machine to zero so that the grams will become wrong because it includes the container's weight. And then the third is mixing and kneading. It started to use the machine. So the flour mixture is then poured it into a large mixing bowl, put onto an industrial mixer, and the appropriate amount of wet ingredients are added depending on the weight of the batch and type of donut in production. So the wet yeast slurry is mixed separately and carefully added to the flour water mixture at this time. The dough mixer then begins its work. So it will start to mix. A large dough hook first mix and then simulates the human kneading process like pulling and stretching. And as it homogenizes the ingredients and develops the dough by forming the gluten into the elongated and interlaced fibers that form the basic structure of the donut. And the mix runs on an automatic timer of the entire mixture, including the softened yeast, is kneaded together for approximately 13 minutes. So after 13 minutes, because it is automatic timer, so it will stop after 30 minutes by itself. And the fourth one is resting the dough. It's one of the important process of making donuts. So yeast dough needed to rest about 10 minutes after it is kneaded. And as the yeast grows, it converts its fruit into carbon dioxide, and this which is called the fermentation, and causes the yeast dough to rise. So as the dough sits, it allows the gas to develop, and the dough started to rise, indicating the fermentation process of the yeast reacting to sugar in the mix is beginning. But if this situation, which it is not successful or it doesn't happen, the dough will not become sponge and soft. It will become flat and tough, which won't taste good. And the fifth one is shaping the donut. And the dough is hosted by hand and loaded into the hopper of the machine called an extruder. So up there it's actually a hopper, and the worker will put dough into it, and this machine is called the extruder. They will shape the donut into rings. A machine that forms the individual donut using a pressure cutter system. The batch of yeast dough is put into the top of the open machine. A cover is then placed on the machine and the machine is pressurized, forcing the dough into tubes that extrude a predetermined amount of dough into the desired shape. And it takes about 15 minutes for the extruder to push out about 30 donuts. An automated donut stamper can also be used in conjunction with an extruder, and in this case, the dough is extruded in the continuous unshaped flow through a series of rollers that flatten the dough. Once flattened to about 1.27 cm thickness, the sheet of dough is stamped into donut shapes, like this, the ring donuts. And the sixth process is proofing. So you will see here is the proofing box, and it will be directly put into the proofing box, which in the proofing box there are hot air, and the temperature controlled warm box they should set to about 51.6 Celsius, and the thin donuts are slowly allowed to rise or proof as to the yeast ferment under controlled conditions. And the dough must be allowed to rise slowly. You cannot rise it really fast because it requires the right temperature. If the proving box is too hot, the bacteria of yeast will be coated and the donuts will not rise. And if it is too cold, the yeast remains inactive and cannot ferment, thus preventing leavening. A machine attached to the extruder pushes the rings or the circles onto a small shaft that moves through the proof box for about 13 minutes. The shafts are chain driven and move down and up, move down and up, move up and over during this 30-minute period. After 30 minutes, they are quite poofy. So here is the shelves which can put the donuts into the proofing box. The 7 is frying, which makes our donut really delicious. And the roll donuts will fall down automatically. It will like it's called the machine we see here, the extruder. It will connect. Sometimes it will connect to the fryer. It will just fall down, and then you can see here is the donuts. After fryer, it will become golden donuts. It is important to drop just a certain amount of donuts into the grease at a time. If too many are placed in the fryer at one time, the oil temperature will drastically lowered and the fry time will get longer, or maybe it will not be successfully fried. And the oil temperature, so that's why the oil temperature is really important. And the donuts will absorb too much oil. It will be really oily and it won't taste good. So as the donuts move through the fryer, they are flipped over by a machine. After 2 minutes, the donut will move completely through the fryer. And its kind of ending is the glazing and drying. So as the donut leave the fryer, you need time to dry because there all oil on it and it's still wet. So after it leave the fryer, they will move under a shower of glass. The glass is forced through holes from a bridge running several inches above the hot donut. And the reason why people put glass or why people love glass is because an average glass donut contains about 11 gram of the fat and 10 gram of sugar. And it's the combination of these two ingredients in particular that makes it so irresistible, which it means why the glass donuts is really yummy and lots of people love to eat glass donuts. And the glass cost the top sides and part of the bottom of the donuts. The donuts are conveyed out of the production area to dry and cold. So here you will see the glazing machine and like the fryer we see here, they're actually connected. So the fryer will convey the donuts to this glazing machine, and then you have to be glassed it, which you can see the glass on here. And after you glass, you need some time to dry. Even so, otherwise the customer will eat some disgusting wet, not dry glass donuts. And it's finished and it's ready to sell. Some factory won't just sell glass donuts. They will sprinkle with candies or nuts, or even will be given a thicker frosting. So some of the candies, chocolate candies, strawberry candies, colorful candies. And then the second one is the components part diagrams, which introduce something about the machine that was used during making donuts. So here are the depositor and the fryer. So this one is called the heater head, which control all the part of here, which are mixing and kneading the dough. So this bowl is called hopper, and this black thing is called the plunger. And here are the part of fryer. So you can see the black things, and here is the some here is irony things, great things. It's called the conveyor. It translate and convert the donuts to from the hopper to the fryer and after into the glazing machine. And here is the heater head which control the temperature or the on and off. And here is the outer casing, which is the most biggest things. And here is the cattle. And this one is a more complicated machine. Like it's the same machine, but like it's talking about the inside structure, so it will be more complicated. So I already introduced